So I wanted to take a few minutes with this video to talk about 4 interesting PlayStation 5 stories, and if you could hit that like button on the video, thank you to those that do it, and as always, it's very much appreciated. Now, the stories I wanted to dive into today includes the big reveals teased, Metal Gear Solid Bluepoint Remake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's release date, Sony's exciting next event is just days away and I'm beyond excited, and the Last of Us 2 PlayStation 5 version in the works. First, yes or no, do you want a Last of Us 2 PlayStation 5 version or not? I've seen people excited to replay Last of Us Part 2, and considering we got a remake for Part 1, a director's cut for Part 2 makes a lot of sense, and we'll get into that in a sec, but I'm curious what you guys want. For me personally, I don't see myself replaying the game, but that's just me. What about you guys? So comment below, yes or no, if you want a Last of Us 2 PS5 version or you don't care. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the first story of the video, Last of Us 2 PlayStation 5 version. Reading from Twisted Voxel, a native PlayStation 5 version of PlayStation Naughty Dog's The Last of Us Part 2 may be in development based on the latest information. Keen-eyed Naughty Dog fans noted that the studio's YouTube channel no longer lists the trailer for the performance patch for The Last of Us Part 2, suggesting that a native PlayStation 5 version may be around the corner. It appears the original uploaded video of The Last of Us Part 2's trailer for PS5's performance patch was quietly taken down around between May and July of 2022. It is now listed as a private video, implying that the game may receive a native PlayStation 5 version to go with the recent release of The Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation 5. It would also make sense for Naughty Dog to update The Last of Us Part 2 for a possible PC release down the road. So this isn't too shocking. It makes sense for Sony to release a remastered version or a director's cut of The Last of Us Part 2 for the PlayStation 5. It's just a matter of when will they release this thing, and we can kind of take a guess at that, a possible guess. Last of Us Season 1 drops in a few weeks, which covers the first game from my understanding, and Sony released Last of Us Part 1 back in September of 2022 for fans to play, so by the time the show is out in early January, the game would be at a discount pricing range, so more people will be interested in getting it after watching the show. They also set up the PC release to line up with the end of the season for Season 1 of The Last of Us, and that makes sense as well. It would make sense for something similar to happen for Part 2. If Part 2 comes out in 2024, Season 2 comes out in 2024, it would make sense for The Last of Us to remaster the game to release months before, with a PC release to follow, similar to The Last of Us Part 1 if they want to play it that way. We could even get the PlayStation 5 release of The Last of Us Part 2 in 2023, later in 2023, if Season 2 comes out in early 2024. Of course, we got to see how this plays out. Now, diving into the second story of the video, Sony's event is days away. So this is exciting news for me. Apparently, more reveals are possibly set to come just days from now. Sony's SVP of Platform Experience, Hideki Nishino, sat down with Japanese video game magazine Famitsu recently to talk about PlayStation VR 2. They were talking about wireless VR and how Sony is researching going wireless, but believes the best way to fully maximize the potential of PlayStation VR 2 is via using the wire, which I get. And honestly, if you're gaming for long periods of time, you're gonna probably be plugged in, because the headset batteries on something like the Quest 2 doesn't last as long as people think. But beyond that, they talked about the launch lineup for the headset. Reading from Mixed News, Nishino says he can't wait for the launch. PlayStation VR 2 is excellently positioned in terms of hardware and content quality. He believes PlayStation VR 2 would enable a completely different level of immersion. When he was asked about PlayStation VR 2's software lineup, Nishino says Sony hasn't announced all of its VR games yet. More games could be revealed in early January at Sony's CES press conference. So this is exciting to read, of course, because this is directly from Sony. And even though he didn't confirm reveals for CES, it makes sense that we'll get something substantial there, considering the thumbnail of Sony's CES event is PlayStation VR 2. I personally haven't seen Sony do something like that before, pretty much putting PlayStation front and center at their CES event, at their CES stream. What will make me happy at the show is if Sony shows off the headset with a live demo to showcase its features, so people will finally understand why this thing is such a nice leap in terms of VR gaming, especially in the console space, obviously, because you just have PlayStation VR. I hope they also announce some big games, because the headset literally launches the following month, and allow people to check it out on the show floor so we can get more impressions from more regular people. Sony's CES event takes place Wednesday, January 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I can't wait to watch. But you guys let me know if you're going to be watching the CES event or not. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the third story of the video, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Reading from Silicon Era, Yoshinori Kitase, a director and producer for the Final Fantasy series since Final Fantasy VI, confirmed more Final Fantasy VII Remake content will appear in 2023. People can also expect a lot of development for the compilation of Final Fantasy VII. For 2023, Kitase's keyword is 7, and he added that this will be his keyword for several years to come. Though the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII was in 2022, Kitase still plans on celebrating it with 7 different promotions and events. In addition, Kitase plans on releasing more information on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth next year. Unless something changes in the development, the game should come out at the end of the year. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will appear on the PlayStation 5 in winter 2023. This is the second part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. So the significance of this is that it pushes the possibility that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will launch in December of next year. The only thing that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth got in terms of release date, as just mentioned in the article, is winter 2023, which could have meant it could release in December 2023 to early 2024, somewhere in January, February. But based on the confirmation here that more Final Fantasy VII Remake content will appear in 2023, it makes it seem like Rebirth will release in December 2023. This in itself is crazy, because we have Final Fantasy 16 launching in the summer of 2023, then this in December 2023. That is a pretty packed year for Final Fantasy content. And now diving into the final story of the video, the Metal Gear Solid Remake. Reading from Comic Book, in a note shared with Famitsu via Gematsu, recently Konami producer Noriaki Okamura teased some plans that the company has in store for next year. Although Okamura's description of the coming year was quite broad, he said that Konami's keyword for 2023 will be long awaited. Additionally, he went on to add that 2023 will be a year of many announcements. When taking both of these statements into account at once, many fans naturally assume that Konami will be revealing new titles next year that have been long in development. So, long-awaited announcements in 2023 based on what we've heard in the rumor mill. People have mainly jumped onto the Metal Gear Solid Remake stories, which we've talked about on the channel before, considering I explained how Bluepoint could have been working on it for the past few years. Bluepoint also has gotten bigger. They're more capable at this point to produce more games at once, because we know they're working on an original IP rumored to be Bloodborne 2. This is also added to a recent rumor from website Area Jaguenos, where they state, according to their sources, that the Metal Gear Solid Remake is a PlayStation 5 only title and is set to be announced supposedly soon. This was said in early December, so could soon mean early 2023, an early 2023 announcement. Linking this to what Noriaki has stated here about a long-awaited Konami announcement in 2023, it makes sense. These two make sense, but of course, let's see how things actually play out. But you guys let me know if you think the Metal Gear Solid Remake is real or not. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, as it always helps, and subscribe if you're new. I got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And now, I'll check you guys out on the next one. And welcome back to the after show. This is the part of the video where we have a little fun down in the comments below. If you're old, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. For today's thing, what I want you guys to do is to body, obliterate, destroy, and overall harass the comment section with Happy New Year, everyone. 2023 is almost upon us. The weekend brings in January 1st. A lot of big things coming out next year. I'm excited for all of that. And if you are as well, destroy the comment section with Happy New Year, everyone. And I'll definitely heart those comments like I always do, because I appreciate everybody who stays to the end of my videos. And now, I'll check you guys out in the new year.